While many Native American tribes were strong and influential, 3 tribes are particularly feared for their unmatched ferocity. These tribes weren't simply powerful, they were absolutely terrifying, tearing through any opposition in ways that would send shivers down your spine. In this video, we're sharing 3 of the most feared Native American tribes you may not have heard about. Simply hearing this tribe's name was enough to create fear, even among other Native peoples. Called the Lords of the Plains, their name derives from the Ute term Comanche, which means someone who constantly seeks battle, or more directly, enemy. The Comanches originally came from the Shoshone tribe, who inhabited the western United States in an area called the Great Basin. Scientific research shows connections between these tribes, including language and way of life. Their language is part of the Uto-Aztecan language family, which encompasses multiple native languages throughout the western U.S. When European colonists, particularly the Spanish, brought horses to North America during the 1500s, these animals slowly made their way among the native tribes. The Comanches conducted trade with nearby tribes like the Pueblo, who had Spanish contact, or other plains tribes that already possessed horses. Through these trading relationships, the Comanches obtained horses, offering buffalo skins, prisoners, or other goods. With horses, they rapidly became skilled riders, pushing their territory well beyond their Shoshone origins. The grasslands of eastern Colorado and western Kansas, abundant with buffalo, drew the Comanches. They became outstanding riders, utilizing horses for hunting, commerce, and combat. Horses not only offered mobility, but also represented status and strength within Comanche culture. Comanches were unrivaled in riding ability. Youngsters learned to ride at an early age, and both men and women gained incredible riding abilities. The Comanches had a special gift for catching and training wild horses. After they located a wild horse, they would lasso its neck, restrict its breathing until it passed out, and then revive it by gently breathing into its nostrils. They'd then groom the horse, trim wild hairs around its eyes, and attach a headstall to guide it. The wild horse would be placed with a gentle mare, creating a connection and getting it used to people. After several days, the horse was set free but remained near the mare. When it was ready to ride, the trainer would guide the horse into deep water or a sandy stream bed, which helped lower its struggle and softened any tumbles if the horse threw its rider. William Blakemore, an Englishman who spent 8 years living with the tribe, stated, "On the ground, clumsy and slow, but on horseback, elegant, they are the finest and boldest riders on earth." In combat, the Comanches were absolutely terrifying. They would charge at their opponents with thunderous battle screams, hiding their whole bodies behind their horses except for one foot, and shoot bullets or arrows with perfect aim over and under their horses' necks. Each Comanche owned a special war horse which they exclusively rode into combat, and even the women were brave riders, roping antelope and hunting buffalo. The Comanches expanded quickly in strength, famous for their constant and fierce fighting. They were intensely aggressive and extremely violent toward their opponents. After Spain gained Louisiana from France, Spanish troops noted that the Comanches were unmatched in riding skills and fearless in warfare. The Comanches didn't seek peace readily. They were aggressive and persistent, killing numerous European colonists and making it almost impossible for the French, Spanish, and Americans to claim their territory. The Comanches were so powerful that they alone stopped Spanish expansion for close to 50 years. General James Wilkinson of the United States called the Comanches the most dangerous native group on the continent. When European colonists traveled through their lands, the Comanches would strike, steal their horses, and later trade them to the Spanish-Mexican Empire or the Americans. Despite being a fairly small tribe of approximately 40,000 people, each Comanche possessed 2 to 3 horses. In their society, young fighters had to establish their standing through regular raids, demonstrating their capacity to kill and plunder. This was the sole way to achieve honor, riches, and respect within their families and groups. Comanche women were famous for their expert and ruthless torture techniques used on prisoners. Once under the control of a Comanche woman, enemies would beg for death. S.C. Gwynne, writer of Empire of the Summer Moon, stated that no other tribe in the history of Spanish, French, Mexican, Texan, and American occupation in the area caused such massive destruction and loss of life. There isn't even a close comparison. Gwynne powerfully describes the savage cruelty of Comanche raids on white colonists, where torture, murders, and sexual violence were routine. The Comanches' attacks followed a dark pattern. All men were murdered, prisoners were tortured, women were sexually assaulted, and infants were killed. T.R. Fehrenbach, writer of Comanche, The History of a People, tells a heartbreaking story involving the Parker family, early colonists at Fort Parker. In 1836, roughly 100 Comanche fighters on horseback came to the fort. One fighter raised a white flag to trick the Parkers. Fehrenbach explains how Benjamin Parker walked outside the fort to talk with the Comanches, only to be surrounded and stabbed by their spears. The Comanches stormed the fort with loud battle cries, killing the two Frosts, father and son, in front of the women. John Parker was savagely mutilated, scalped, and left for dead. Granny Parker was pinned to the earth with a spear and suffered terrible attacks. The Comanches were infamous for torturing prisoners, including American and Mexican troops. Some were cooked alive over open flames, others were castrated and scalped while still awake. According to T.R. Fehrenbach, a Spanish document shows that the Comanches tortured Tonkawa Indian prisoners by burning their hands and feet until the nerves were dead, cutting off these body parts, and then repeating the burning treatment on fresh wounds. The Tonkawas, scalped while alive, also had their tongues ripped out to stop their screaming. Before we share the next most feared tribe, give us a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel. The Iroquois Confederacy, also called the Haudenosaunee, or Six Nations, is another impressive example of native political and social structure in North America. The origins of this mighty alliance go back to the cooperation of separate tribes like the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. The Mohawk, located to the east, were recognized for their geographic position and connections with early European colonists. The Oneida, with origins in the Great Lakes area, and the Onondaga, based in central New York, contributed to the Confederacy's variety. The Cayuga and Seneca, living to the west and south respectively, further strengthened this partnership with their distinct offerings. Interestingly, the name Iroquois wasn't initially from this confederacy, but was assigned by the Algonquins, well-known rivals of the Haudenosaunee. They were commonly called Iroquois, a name meaning rattlesnake. Why this name? Put simply, the Iroquois were experts at quietly sneaking up on their opponents and delivering not just the fastest, but also the deadliest attacks. Before their opponents could even respond, many strong fighters would have already been defeated. The Iroquois were recognized for their powerful and bold character, regularly expanding their land by attacking neighboring tribes. They easily created fear in the minds of many, conquering numerous Native American tribes. Among those seriously affected by their attacks were the Huron, Erie, and Susquehannock. From childhood, Iroquois youth received military instruction, mastering their abilities with bows, arrows, spears, and clubs. During their teenage years, they participated in raids against competing Native American groups and, occasionally, white colonists. This early introduction to warfare turned them into fierce warriors who fought without pause, motivated purely by the hunger for victory. Showing military excellence not only brought individuals respect, but also created the opportunity to become a war chief. One especially dark element of Iroquois warfare was their handling of prisoners. Captives were frequently forced to endure the terrible experience of running the gauntlet, a frightening ceremony where they had to run between two rows of Iroquois warriors carrying thorny sticks and branches, suffering physical abuse. This custom highlighted the severity of conflicts between tribes and the rigid military tradition within Iroquois society. The Beaver Wars, which lasted throughout the 1600s, were a violent time for the Iroquois Confederacy as they participated in battles designed to expand their land. One of their significant victories was the defeat of the Susquehannocks in what is now Pennsylvania. Furthermore, the Iroquois greatly damaged the Huron people around the Great Lakes, further establishing their power in the area. By the early 1700s, at the height of their strength, the Iroquois dominated huge territories extending from the western regions to the northern areas of Michigan and southward to the hills of Tennessee. What made the Iroquois Confederacy special was their remarkable capacity to keep unity among the various nations within their alliance. This unity was particularly clear during the French and Indian War, when all the Iroquois nations sided with the British. As the Bible verse teaches, "And if one prevails against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken." Unity truly creates a powerful nation. The Apache people belong to the southern branch of the Athabascan group. The languages of this group are spoken throughout a wide family in Alaska, western Canada, and the American Southwest. Various branches of the Apache tribes existed across a territory that extended from the Arkansas River to northern Mexico and from central Texas to central Arizona. The Apache not only survived but flourished, surrounded by mighty empires, successfully handling challenges presented by the Spanish, Comanche, Ute, and American forces. Living in harsh landscape, the Apache became experts of mobile guerrilla combat, equipped with traditional bows and more advanced rifles introduced by European powers. It is reported that Apache fighters could shoot multiple arrows in a single moment while skillfully riding a horse. The survival methods of the Apache were firmly based in their outstanding abilities in stealth and surprise, creating the basis of their military strength. They were, in basic terms, experts of hide and seek. This talent allowed them to carry out sudden and unexpected attacks against their enemies, catching them unprepared and breaking their spirit. Apache fighters, talented in surprise strikes, would appear quickly from concealment, launch accurate assaults, and withdraw just as rapidly into the landscape they understood so thoroughly. One impressive feature of Apache warfare was their ability in raiding. They showed an unmatched capacity to travel vast distances quickly, whether on foot or horseback. This speed, combined with their tactical knowledge, enabled them to attack with accuracy and escape before their enemies could recover from the surprise. The Apache smoothly incorporated Spanish horses and steel weapons into their combat methods, demonstrating their flexibility. They rapidly learned to use lances and knives with remarkable speed, further improving their performance in battle. General Crook's description of the Apaches as the tigers of the human race perfectly captured the dangerous nature of these fighters. Their toughness and physical abilities were such that they could outrun cavalry on foot, showing an exceptional level of speed and stamina. In combat, Apaches displayed incredible skill in archery, releasing 7 arrows into the air before the first one even hit the ground, a demonstration of their quick and accurate shooting. When it came to torturing prisoners, they did so without any hint of guilt. Enemies were skinned and burned alive, and the children of their opponents met a terrible fate, their heads smashed against walls. Adding to their cruelty, they highly respected anyone who could create a new way of torturing prisoners. To wrap it all up, these 3 tribes will forever be remembered as those who easily created fear in the hearts of all their enemies. Share your opinions with us in the comments below, and if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Stay tuned for our newest content by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you.